waiting, and we're live. Welcome to 2015. Same show, same whores. This is the Atheist Jesus podcast. Today we're going to talk about a lot of things, but first I have Caleb with me, who will probably be returning for every fucking episode that he can, because why not?
You can go ahead and refer to me as Big Mac from here on out. It's all good.
He's waiting to give you the special sauce.
Oh yeah, all the bitches want my special sauce.
And then we might have Lucas on still. Lucas ran into a bit of an issue. But it's Jen's birthday, so feliz cumpleaños, Jen. And so, of course, Puma, being a good boyfriend, is not on, and I gave Jen this podcast off. But yes, this is our first, not only secular Saturday, but our first podcast period of 2015. Mm-hmm. And we have shit to talk about. Not even completely over with the first month.
Before we get started, I actually want to give a shout out to my friend Corey, who got the word out to a lot of people for this podcast. I don't know how many people are gonna be watching, but my buddy Corey definitely helped out a lot. So
thank you, Corey. Big Mac is sure to give you his special sauce. But yeah, we're not even fully through the first fucking month, and shit's already happening. So, to give you a quick rundown of what we're going to talk about, for the big things is, not veterans, but as far as people being kicked out of their homes for being atheists by religious anything, it's almost as bad as when LGBT are being kicked out by their religious family or significant others or whatever.
Not even that. Just anybody being kicked out for any sort of BS, I mean, is always bullshit.
Yeah, if it's stupid shit. Then we're going to talk about Charlie Hebdo and the whole BS. Huh?
I think it's Hebdo.
Oh, Hebdo. I don't fucking... Charlie H word. But yeah, we're going to talk about that whole situation and Europe's newfound Islamophobia, if you want to call it that, because there is this big resurgence of fear of Islam and Islamic people. Discuss that, and then at the latter end of this, we are going to discuss how IS, the Islamic State, Al-Akbar, is kind of really winning the social media war, as the mainstream media is putting it, and how they've kind of mastered the use of social media for purposes of indoctrination and other shit. We have a few other things that we're going to throw in there, and if Lucas shows up at some point, we'll talk about something with him. But yeah, so first thing is to jump into this topic, I'd like to point out that down below in the description, there's a link to a GoFundMe for someone who chooses to remain anonymous, but it's a veteran who was kicked out of his home. I know him, and many of the people that I work with know him. He was kicked out of his home basically just for being an atheist. He has nowhere to go right now, so any donation can really help. Like I said, it would be the first link down in the description below. And we're just trying to raise 1,000 so he can get to Seattle, where we can get him an assured job and a nice place to stay. And I mean, really, we'd appreciate any help, even if you can't donate. If you could just share the link, that'd be great. But with that said, let's talk about people getting kicked out. I mean, anyone really, like Caleb said, getting kicked out for fucking stupid ass reasons like being gay or lesbian or transgender or
for me,
fucking atheist.
I would have to say that it definitely happens a lot more for the people who are LGBT. Not separating out, one sexuality or the other. They tend to be, especially in religious households, it seems that even though they preach that they're the most tolerant, they're extremely intolerant, especially of, a select few things, which, but it really hits home for me with gay people, and I don't mean that in any way. I have lesbian parents. I completely support the LGBT community, and I've actually have been starting to get out there for supporting gay marriage, because I know there are still a couple states that are being dicks about it. to be blunt.
Mentioning dicks in a gay marriage conversation, classic.
Hey, never heard that one before. But it's just, if you know somebody like that that's been kicked out, help them. That's the big thing, is that too many people are talking about it happening, and we don't have enough people talking about what we can do to help those people. I mean, yeah, there are shelters and such, but 9 out of 10 homeless shelters are run by religious institutions. I mean, so that really doesn't help that much for those people, because then, they're going from one religious household to another, if you want to call it a household. But, I mean, I know I'm getting a little bit off topic because we were talking about atheists, but, we need more, I feel at least, that we need more secular homeless shelters. Or not just secular, but more open-minded homeless shelters. Because I remember I was actually homeless for a little while. And the one homeless shelter that I ended up in, they had like a list of rules, and the number one rule on that list was, you have to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. And I remember the first sermon they gave, because every morning we would have to do a Bible study.
Which is, and I don't mean to interrupt, which is like a really fucked up list. Because you're really, what about a Muslim man or a Jewish man? Like, you've just fucked them over.
Well, yeah, Judaism is essentially Christian's brother, but we'll not get into that. But it's just mind-boggling to me how intolerant these people are. I mean, the first Bible study group that we had was on how gays are immoral and how they're all going to hell, which, me having lesbian parents, really, kind of hit home for me. Like, I really just wanted to look at them and be like, are you really that stupid?
I mean, it's really, and I mean, even talking about, we don't even have to keep it to atheists. Like, anyone being kicked out for any stupid reason. Like, if someone needs your help, the last thing you really want to do is make them feel ostracized and unwanted and unloved. Like, yeah, definitely. You see what I'm saying?
Because they're already feeling that way because, hey, they just got kicked out.
But, I mean, I do agree we do need more secular, more just open-minded shelters, but we also need to understand, like, to try to stop this before it even happens, whether you're Christian, atheist, gay, Jew, Buddhist, I don't really give a fuck.
Anything. Who gives a shit?
I mean, as a humanist, I believe that you need to support your fellow man, whether you agree with them or not, unless they're like out there raping and killing,
Which in the Bible, that's actually supported.
So I mean, saying, but unless they're out there like raping and killing and stealing shit or whatever, like you really do need to try to support them, because at the end of the day, as far as humanity goes, we have forced ourselves to be the top of the food chain. So since we don't have any, like, we're all we have. Like, this is it. Like, it's not like there's another place where we can go. Humans are all that we have to support us. And if we can't even support each other, what the fuck's going to happen to the species? Like, if we can't even say, well, shit, you're down on your luck. Oh, you don't. Well, you don't agree with the same things I do. Well, I can't help you. Like, what the fuck?
Well, and I feel like, especially now with how many police brutality cases are coming up,
oh, man.
Everything like that, it feels like everybody's trying to make it about race or religion. Hey, can you turn down your music a little bit?
What's up?
Oh, your music. It's I don't know how
Oh,
everybody else is
sorry.
hearing it, but I know it's coming through pretty loud on mine. Sorry about the unprofessionalism, guys. But what was I talking about? Now I done lost my train of thought. I hope you're happy.
Fuck. Yes, beautiful music. No, fuck. What were you? You were talking about with police brutality and everything.
Yeah, with especially with the cases of police brutality and such coming out now, I feel like people are trying to make it more about race and trying to individualize people, and that's the problem. I mean, because I don't see color. All I see is human. You know, if somebody comes up to me asking for help, I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, Indian.
Durka.
Yeah, well, that's not racist. But you know, I don't care what you are, as long as you know we can respect each other as human beings. I'll go to the ends of the earth with you. You know, as long as you respect me as a human, I'll respect you as a human. You know, and it's just, I feel like as a community, as a race, I feel like we're now more separated than ever. I mean, yeah, with social media and the way technology is advancing, we all have, you know, we're all more connected than ever, but we're also more, what's the word I'm looking for? We're more separated.
Yeah.
We have people looking at bullshit that they shouldn't even be looking at. I mean, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is that we all bleed red. We're all human beings. We need to start treating each other that way. And I just feel like, I feel like the more that we're getting into technology, the more that we're losing our humanity. And I'm by no means saying that technology is bad. I mean, I'm all for the advancement of technology, but I feel like with the advancement of technology, we also need to learn how to advance ourselves as a community and as a human race.
Agreed. I also feel like, I mean, there is a race conversation that needs to be had, not only in America, but in certain other parts of the world.
Oh, yeah, I mean, they're definitely... But that's not a, and I hate to talk over you.
No, completely.
But the reason why people should be talking about race is so we can talk about how to make everyone equal.
Exactly. And I mean, at the end of the day, going back to what we're saying, you know, going back to my point as far as if we can't even help our fellow man, if we're taking divisions like race or beliefs, lack of thereof, whatever little weird division or subsect that you want to create, then we're not going to survive.
We fall.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're not going to survive as a species, at least not in my opinion. Though I understand that a lot of times, and this is saved us in a while, that we fear what we don't understand, and though that may have kept us alive in a primitive state, we progressed past, exactly, like we progressed past that, where now we can go ahead and we should be able to say, you know what, maybe I should go and seek understanding, because if you want to be understood, you also need to try to understand.
Well, and I mean, it's like you really did kind of hit the right point there with the we fear what we don't understand. I mean, I think that's one of the major points of why people aren't as accepting of other faiths and other genders and sexualities, is because they themselves can't identify with them, so they're like, whoa, this is a new thing. But the problem is that there are too many people saying, hey, this is a new thing, it's not right, when people should be saying, hey, this is a new thing, let's talk about it, see if it's morally right, which in most cases not saying all, but specifically in the case of gender equality and, you know, sexuality equality or whatever you want to call it, that people need to be more understanding. You know, we don't have people who are willing to take that step to try to understand somebody else. And I'm not saying take that step as in go out and fuck another guy, because you don't have to do that.
If you don't want to. Me personally, man, Caleb, you can get it over there.
If you want to, I mean, hey, that's you. I mean,
Caleb,
that ain't my
I want your special sauce, Big Mac.
Anytime, baby.
Oh, shit.
Where's some
got some nice fishnets. No, I mean, realistically, like, this is a lot of the problem, and not only with, you know, getting back to the original point, not only with the police brutality and the division, but we also have this where politicians and just people in general are, like, waging, it seems as though, to me, people are waging war on the homeless. And when I say that, I don't mean people are out there, like, going to war on battlefields or some shit. But, you know, there are a lot of laws that are being put in place. Like, it's illegal in some places to feed the homeless.
Hell, it's illegal.
Like, what the fuck?
It's illegal in the city that I'm in to go out. It's illegal in Florida, last I checked, to go out and feed the homeless.
And, I mean, I do the shit, because I live close to him. I live in state above him, which is a pretty alright state for the South. And we don't have
the best city to live in under Hitler's rule?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. It's like we're pretty shitty for the South, but we don't have a stand your ground.
Not in Florida.
Man, but it's not illegal here yet, but there is like this growing surge of people who's like, you, the homeless. Like, there are a lot of factors in. You can't just say, well, lazy people, the reason they're homeless. It's like I said, in this man's...
It's not just because they're lazy.
Situation. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, in this man's situation, there's a whole bunch of factors, but in this man's situation, who, again, is a veteran, he was kicked out for a lack of belief, and basically just a personal and philosophical disagreement with his family member. Not a friend, not an acquaintance, his blood. So, I mean, you could imagine...
Thicker than water, right?
Exactly. I'm just saying, like, you could imagine if people are getting kicked out of something that, at least to me, seems so small and insignificant, what other issues are happening? You know what I'm saying? Like, and not to mention with the economy the way it is, sure, shit's improving, but jobs in certain areas are still hard as fuck to find.
Hell, I've been trying to find a job for the past fucking months.
Exactly.
You know, just because jobs are being created doesn't mean that it's not. That it doesn't mean that it's easy to just go out and find one.
Exactly. Like in some places, like this man's trying to get to Seattle, which is what the money for is before in the GoFundMe link you can donate. Seattle's booming and as far as job growth and more employment for people, and really the West Coast because of the marijuana industry. But you also have the issue where he's at in the Midwest. It's just like, like jobs there. It's just kind of a stalemate.
That's another point that I wanted to bring up about how hard it is to find a job. I mean, especially in states that don't have any sort of, you know, medicinal or recreational or anything. You know, it's harder to find a job, especially when, you know, a lot of the people who smoke it's because of medical reasons. I mean, I know for me, you know, it helps me out with my anxiety and my depression, and God, I could rattle off a list right now of all the shit that I have, you know, but it actually helps people, especially a lot more than actual pills do. Yeah. I mean, I was on pills from the time I was 7 years old to 17. And as soon as I moved, like I was basically forced to move out at 17. And at that point, I told my parents, I was like, look, I'm not taking my pills anymore. They don't help me. And I started smoking pot. and
Yeah.
it helped me. I can't even tell you how much more than pills did. I mean,
Well, I mean, not only that, but it's just because we are talking, because you are talking about marijuana, and the marijuana industry in the West is booming, but that is also a factor. Like, you have some states that, since it's illegal, if you get piss tested, you pop up hot, even if you're not like doing methamphetamines, you're not doing any hard drugs, you're doing something that helps you, you get fired. Or some people will call, and then you call your last employer, and they're like, how the fuck did he get fired, or did he quit, or what happened? It's like, oh yeah, he popped hot on a drug test. They don't say why. They don't say why you're taking the drugs. There's no real questions behind it. It's just like, oh, you popped hot, you're gone.
well, yeah.
And if you don't have a job, you're fucked. Because
exactly.
I hate to tell people, unemployment, especially if you're living a certain lifestyle and then out of nowhere you're fucked, unemployment is not really popping like that. Like, unemployment is not the shit. Shelters are not the shit. Like, I promise you, as someone who's done it all, it's not.
Well, and to give you an idea, when I was on my medications, it basically it made me feel like I was just a zombie going throughout my day. And I didn't really feel any emotions at all. And that's how it is for a lot of people when they're on these medications, is that they just don't feel any emotion. And when they do, it's, in my case, it was extreme outbursts of anger. To the point to where, the cops would be called, like, instantly. And with pot, I haven't had a single moment of there's no extreme outbursts of anger. Yeah, I still get angry. Yeah, I still get upset. Yeah, I still get pissed the fuck off. But I'm able to deal with it a lot better. I'm able to bring myself down a lot easier than I was when I was on my pills. And the thing that people don't realize is that it's not just one medication that they have to put you on. They have to put you on one medication, and then they have to put you on like 5 other ones just because of side effects. Man. And at that point, I guarantee you, the chemicals in my body are probably imbalanced as fuck due to all the medications I was on as a kid. I mean,
not to mention again, with certain medications, some of the side effects are fucking. Whoo. And then that also causes a problem when you can't work.
I have not seen a depression medication that does not have a side effect that's suicidal thoughts.
Which is fucking hilarious. It's like, hey,
isn't that what I'm taking this for?
Exactly. Which is also another thing, like getting, the homeless. Like, the homeless have to face that. We do have this growing homeless problem in America, especially with the people getting kicked out, as we're, the original point.
Well,
and like suicide is not like something that's foreign to them. I'm pretty sure a lot of them think about that all the time, especially when you have people telling you that you're worthless or you're lazy, when they don't know your story, your struggle, anything. And I'm not going to say that there aren't people, because I've met people in my travels that were just fucking lazy, they were happy, they were perfectly content in being homeless, believe it or not. And that's fine. But there were more people, more often than not, that there was something that happened. They weren't just like one day, fuck it, I'm not going to work.
Yeah.
I'm going to live on the streets.
That's the thing, is that people don't realize how much being homeless is not a choice. Because, even if you are able to go, even if you do fill out job applications, most places require an address, which you can't get if you're homeless.
Not to mention taxes. Nigga, what address you got? Because you have to you legally have to have a permanent address.
Exactly.
That is. A lot of people don't know that, or they don't pay attention. But legally, you're supposed to have a permanent address. So.
And a lot of what people say, well, why don't they just go to homeless shelters? Because 9 times out of 10, the homeless shelters don't really help.
It's really just it's simply, and that's if you're lucky.
Oh,
just
yeah.
A place to sleep. Like, that's it. Like, a place to sleep out of the rain. Maybe some food.
Yeah.
That's it.
And, especially if you go to bigger cities, you'll see homeless shelters that will have lines. Like, just to get in for the night.
Exactly.
And it's sickening that, I mean, especially, I don't know what the statistics are at this point, but I remember, I want to say a couple months ago, I saw a statistic that was like, we have enough foreclosed housing in the United States to give every homeless person like 3 houses or some shit.
Yeah, like, I mean, there is not like it's not there.
Well, and
which is even more aggravating.
yeah, and I mean, I don't want to break too far away from the subject, but another big thing that people don't realize is that it's not as easy to get a place to live as it was, 20 years ago or like 40 years ago. You've got all these people that their parents are like, I had a house at 20, what the fuck is your problem? When it's like, yeah, you had a house at 20 when houses cost like $1,000 a pop. It's like, you can't get a house for less than,
Not a good one anyway.
Oh yeah, like if you want to live anywhere besides the projects, it's gonna cost you like a good 30 grand.
And I mean, and that's for owning a house, and that's not counting a mortgage, etc., etc. Then you also have to count in, are you living in a major city, or are you living anywhere near a fucking major city? Because a major city is usually where the jobs are at if you're lucky, depending on where you live. But you also have the higher cost of living. And if you get like a shitty job, because a lot of like minimum wage doesn't pay for shit. So you've got a shitty job, a high-ass cost of living, and you're scraping and doing whatever you can just to get by. And one day something fucks up the delicate balance of living that you have. Like, a lot of people can't recover from that. I mean, it's hard enough, especially in my situation, because I would like to establish for people, like, I don't get paid a shit ton off of YouTube at all. So, like, it's harder in my situation because I am, like, we pushing, we just drifting. And a lot of people, like I said, that's for a majority of the people in America. A majority of the people are living paycheck to paycheck. Or, they're living where, sometimes they cut a bill. Exactly, like, or sometimes you just like, look, the electricity going to have to get cut or the water going to have to get cut for a week, and you just, something's got to give.
I'm looking up the cost of living versus the minimum wage.
Okay, also, after we talk about that, I'm going to move on to the next topic.
Okay, to give you an idea, in the state of Florida, which is where I'm currently living, the living wage is $10.12 an hour, and I know at the start of this year, the minimum wage for Florida just went up from $7.25 to $8.05, and that's for one adult. That's just for one. That's just for like me or you or any like given person.
Human being.
Yeah, the living wage is $10.12 an hour, and the minimum wage is $8.05. So, and people don't see a problem with this. I mean, the biggest problem is that, not only, like, me personally, I don't think the biggest problem is a minimum wage. I think the bigger problem is a maximum wage. I mean, I don't think we should have people that make over, hell, $10 billion, let's just say. Realistically, you could still live out of touch with society for $10 billion. You could be in that, that 1% elitist club at $10 fucking billion, because it's $10 billion. And yet you have thousands of. It's ridiculous how much how many homeless people we have in this country, and yet we have people who can fly from Japan to Paris and then to California in one day and it not even be a fucking thing. That's just an average Tuesday to them. And
that's for that's just for leisure. Like, it's not business. It's
that's not business. That's just, hey, I want to go have breakfast in Tokyo and maybe have lunch in India because, fuck it.
And it's crazy for me because I know, like, just being not only in the city I am, but around a lot of the people I am and my family, like I know them. I know those people who are just like, eh, you know what? I think I'm gonna go take a flight like out of country and just say fuck it.
Well, and the
And then they
problem
want,
is,
or they invite you and they don't understand. They're like, "What? You're broke?" I'm like, "Yes, nigga, I'm broke."
well, yeah. You know, I'm 19 years old in 2015. Of course, I'm broke.
Like not only that, but it's just like, or like people think for me, especially people that know me in real life and know my actual name and other shit. Because I rub shoulders with a lot of people that have an exorbitant amount of money.
Well, share the wealth. Shit.
Yeah, exactly. But they assume like, and I've done a lot of things that a lot of people don't get to do. They
Yeah.
assume that I got a shit ton of money. It's like, no, no, no. You can rub shoulders with the rich and famous and have nothing.
Well,
You just
yeah.
have to know where to be. So you can only
Well,
imagine what the homeless deal with when they're like, especially the ones in like Los Angeles and shit, and they're on the corners and they have shit, and then there's this talentless prick who has hella money and you don't even know his name. He's just some producer.
yeah. Well, and the biggest problem is that there's no one fix for it. I mean, yeah, you can put in a maximum wage cap. Yeah, you can raise the minimum wage, but that's not the only problem. I mean, the education system in America is fucked. Like,
Fucking shit, man.
beyond recognition, like, the education system in America ain't no virgin. Like, it's been ran through by the homies and everybody else on the block.
Wow.
You know, like,
That's
that's
sad.
the.
It's sad, but it's true.
It's true. I mean, hold
Like
on.
we wonder
The
why
cost
countries are
of,
better than us.
I mean, I had somebody because you heard how Obama's trying to get 2-year colleges to be free for everyone, but you
Yeah,
have to work for it. Is what he said. I mean,
yeah.
let me look up the numbers real quick.
Which again, before we go off, it's just like a lot of the factors that play into being homeless is, education is well, just making it period check by check is education, and even now, like nowadays, there are tons of people, majority of people come out with degrees that have fucking no jobs, like no jobs in their field. So they got a degree where they just spent maybe let's say 80,000 well in college for 4 years. Got this degree that should pay 100,000 a year or some shit, and just to start off with, and they can't get the job. So now they're working at McDonald's for 25,000 a year. So
well,
they got a nice degree.
hell, every year, the graduating class always breaks the record for student debt.
Yeah, and I mean, school is expensive, and then you don't get the job that you train. Like, 'cause that's all you do when you get a degree, especially in a particular field or a particular subject, whatever. That is what you are expected to go into. And if you can't get into that, you pretty much wasted about. Because I can say most people don't major until like the junior year, so you just wasted 2 years of your life.
I'm trying to see what it is. I mean, I can't really get an exact answer, but just going through a couple Google articles. One of them was like for a public college, this is like community college, will run you around 3,500. That's average for a 2-year degree. That's $2,500 or $3,500. That's that's about half a year's rent in some places. Hell, that's like 3 months. That's actually, let's see here, because I'm currently paying around $500 a month for rent. So let's see here, 500 times 7. Yeah, that's about half a year's rent. And it really comes down to, hey, am I going to eat or am I going to get an education? And that's the biggest problem. I mean, yeah, you can get loans, but you have to pay back those loans, and when you can't get a job once you've spent, your entire, all the money you have on a degree, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's like, not to mention with the way that education is on the high school level and the middle school level, with Common Core, which to me is baffling why we still have a Common Core curriculum. You still there? Did he go dark? But yeah, as I was saying, with the Common Core curriculum, it's just not everybody learns the same. The biggest problem with Common Core is everybody's treated as they all are the same person, which is why it's called Common Core. Not sure if anybody was baffled by that or not, but not everyone learns the same. I'm a perfect example of that. I ended up moving in the middle of my senior year, like literally in the middle of my senior year, to a completely different state on the opposite side of the country. And what ended up happening was I told them, well, as soon as I got there, I told them, just put all of my courses online. I'll be done within 2 weeks. You won't have to deal with me the rest of the year. And, of course, they didn't listen. And so, they put me in classes, and it just got to the point where I wasn't learning anything. And me, personally, I never got along with people well. So, I wasn't learning anything. I hated everybody in the classrooms. Yeah, I figured you went dark. But
yeah, no, I was having problems, so I went and got food, and it fixed itself.
All right. But I was talking about while you were gone, because I kind of figured that you went dark after a second there. I'm like, did he? I'm not hearing shit. But I was talking about Common Core and why it's fucked. And basically to catch you up, I was telling the audience about how with me, I'm a perfect example as to why Common Core doesn't work. And I'm going to apologize to everybody in the audience that I'm going to repeat this. But, I ended up
just
moving.
fill me in. Here, just fill me in after it, because I don't want to fucking piss off the audience and have them give me death threats on the first episode of New Year.
Works for me.
So we're gonna move on to the next fucking topic, you fucking cunt. Sorry guys if I cut off your beautiful Common Core lesson.
Moved in the middle of my senior year. I told them put all my classes online. They didn't listen.
He said, "Fuck what you said."
Kill yourself.
I will after I eat this delicious ass food.
And it got to the point where I hated everyone in the classrooms. They hated me, and I wasn't learning shit, so I just stopped going. And it was about a month and a half before graduation, and they were like, hey, it's looking like you're not going to graduate. And I told them, just put all of my classes online. I'll be done in 2 weeks, and you won't have to deal with me the rest of the year. And they finally did it, and lo and behold, I was done in 2 weeks, and they didn't have to deal with me for the rest of the goddamn year.
Came to graduation, and they were just like, oh shit, he really did.
Yeah. And it's like I said, I'm a perfect example as to why it doesn't work. And as a closing statement, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its entire life thinking it's retarded.
So basically what he's saying is he's a gigantic catfish because it's the only big fish I can think of. And his fat ass can't climb a tree, so please don't think he's a Riri.
Nah, it's more like a Goliath grouper. Have you seen those things?
Oh man, I've caught one.
Oh,
also, sorry to anyone who gets offended by that term.
Which one?
Also, when I said I caught one, I was talking about my ex. Anyway. Woo! Yeah, man, it feels good to be back hosting. Yeah, no. Sorry for anyone who's listening. First of all, sorry for using the term Riri. I have a lot of mentally handicapped friends. I have a few myself, and then as far as the handicaps, and then I have family members that are, and the term is just widely used between all of them. They thought it was offensive when I went to one of the homes or whatever, the centers, that I didn't use the term with them when I was younger. So ever since then, I've always just used the term, and if I offend anyone, I apologize after, just because that's what I'm used to. And I'm sorry that we went off topic a lot. It's just that when it comes to this particular topic, when it comes to homelessness, there's so many factors that go into there. And even in those factors, there's so many problems with the factors themselves that sometimes, and that's a lot with a lot of our topics, sometimes we go off topic.
But it's normally for a good reason.
Yeah, like, I mean, I understand we just took up like 45 minutes. But still.
Dang, we did.
Yeah, so what I would like to sit here and do now is, again, I've made it to this point I mentioned before, the GoFundMe campaign for this veteran. He's a great guy. He's just down on his luck. He only needs 1,000 to really set him up. If we can get past that, that'd be great. But we really only need 1,000 to get him to Seattle and set him up so that he can get his life back on track. And if you could just go, it's the first link down below. Donate whatever you can or share it. I'd really appreciate that. Our next topic, and excuse me while I eat some delicious ass food, is the Charlie Hebdo or Hebdo thing. I don't know how to pronounce it because I keep forgetting which way it goes. And the whole Islamophobia that's resurging in Europe. So I want his take on that, because he said he had something that would piss y'all off, and I personally think that's great. That's because I'm an asshole. So what do you have to say on it?
My thing is on the whole, well, let me preface this by saying I don't like to judge a group of people. I really don't. But when your religious doctrine...
You fucking towel heads.
When your religious doctrine specifically states to kill anyone who doesn't believe in your religion, I mean, that just kind of says something. You're already starting off with this whole, I don't like people who aren't like me, and it's not good. I'm trying really hard not to, we don't need ISIS bursting down our doors and shooting everyone. But, it says in the Quran, kill anyone kill any infidels. I mean, that's not in an extremist Quran, that's in the Quran.
Yeah, and I've studied and practiced as just a fucking round thing, several religions. And when I went to Islam, I went in it with the want to try to understand it. So I can tell you, like, it gets really confusing because at first it says respect all religions of the book being the Old Testament or Torah, so it would be Judaism, Christianity, Islam. Then it says kill everyone who doesn't believe that Muhammad was prophet.
Exactly.
So, then it says there are certain passages that say just tax everyone that lives under you that doesn't believe, and then there's certain passages that are like, nah, fuck that, kill them.
Yeah, just like straight up behead them and shit. And it's like, the problem is that, the fact that we can't even release a cartoon without them going in and trying and succeeding at killing people because they don't like what we say. I mean, the fact that we haven't, I'm gonna probably offend a lot of people by saying this, and I'm probably gonna sound like everybody else on Fox News.
Don't care.
But, I really don't. But the fact that we haven't turned the Middle East into a glass pavement at this point is really surprising. We've been in and out of, like, you take a map of the Middle East and just put a dart, throw a dart. We've been there. Whether it's for oil or some other bullshit reason, we've been over there. And, that and the fact that they already don't like us, and the fact that their religious doctrine says, hey, kill everyone who doesn't believe what we believe, You know, it's just the fact that, I mean, okay, I want to back up for a second.
And I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'd like to, y'all, if it seems a lot of stuttery at this point, you have to understand, especially for him and me, that I do not go out of my way to offend people. When I say that, it does not mean that I take special care not to offend anyone. I just don't go out my way. Like Fox News, for the most part, you can tell they go out their way to offend someone. If I happen to say something that offends someone, I apologize. Well, usually I don't, but
if we're gonna bring up France and the whole Islam and Fox News, did you see that the mayor of Paris is actually planning on suing Fox News over their reports of no-go zones?
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? Like I try to take care, at least especially on me. I can't say a lot for guests that we've had, which is very rare that we have a guest. But for most of us, before we do a show, even though it's spontaneous, like the night before, even though we're bullshitting, or the night of, we try to do some research so we know what we're talking about. Because my main goal is I've never wanted to sit here and purposely misrepresent something or lie.
Yeah.
And with that also means that if something is the truth and I am saying it, not in a satirical manner, but if I'm saying it as fact and it offends someone, I can't say anything. The truth hurts. If I'm being satirical and it offends someone, I'm sorry, it wasn't intentional. But I go out my way, and so do the people that I bring on the show majority of the time, and people I will bring on the show, to know what the fuck you're talking about.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that all Muslims are bad. I mean, if I get a message from somebody saying, hey, I'm a Muslim, I don't think, any infidel should die, then cool. That's you. That's not a majority of your religion.
I mean, that's how it should be, though.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just like, there are Christian sects. Look, you know what I mean, like the
denomination.
There are parts of the Christian religion that actually accept gay people, just like there are parts of the Muslim religion that don't believe that if you're an infidel, you should automatically be stoned or beheaded or whatever the hell it says. And it's baffling to me how much we've put up with it. I mean, we have people, like, back in, I remember this isn't the first time we've had a huge scare over Islam in a cartoon. I was actually watching a couple videos on YouTube today, and one by Thunderfoot. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Thunderfoot is amazing.
Yeah, and he was talking about how back in 2006, we had a similar scenario where, basically everybody over in the Middle East was rioting over a cartoon. And then you have...
I don't know if 2006 it was, but I know at some point South Park did the same thing as far as they would bring up, like, fixtures, and so they had, like, they had and Jesus and shit, and then they brought in Muhammad.
And did they censor it?
People flipped. Yeah, it was originally aired with Muhammad, and I think you can still find it, but they ended up censoring it for later releases with, I think it was like Santa Claus or some shit, just because of the backlash from that first release.
Well, yeah. And, I mean, just the fact that we have people trying to squash free, like, I mean, it doesn't matter what religion you are. It doesn't matter who you are. The fact that they're trying to squash free speech, because at that point, that's exactly what it is. They want to say what they want to say. It's not slander, and it's not a lie. Last I checked, it's just a cartoon representation of Muhammad. And the fact that people want to kill people over that is baffling, and it's sick, it's twisted, and, something needs to be done. I'm not saying that everybody should be up in arms and scared over everyone that's wearing their traditional head, everything,
Are you talking about females or males?
Both. I mean,
the turban, and I believe it's the hijab.
Yeah, the hijab. I'm not saying that, you should be scared of anybody who wears one of those or be scared of anybody who practices the Muslim religion, because you shouldn't be. I mean, but, it's really hard for me to say anything one way or another on this. And then,
I mean, it's kind of like trying to deal with Germans after World War II, because it's like you don't want to be afraid of all Germans, but until shit's okay.
Well, and especially since in our previous topic we talked about how we should all help each other out as humans, which, I mean, it sucks. It really does, because there are people out there that are assholes and that want to hurt you. And it's just, it's
Welcome
hard.
To, the world.
Yeah. I mean, I think what the big thing is on this whole situation is that, or I'm going to refer to the previous topic, is that you should treat everyone else as a human being up until the point to where they treat you differently. And that's the thing, is that they've already taken that step and said, hey, we don't like you. We're going to do everything in our power to stop you. Come at me, bro. Is basically what they're doing.
It's like, we don't give a shit.
Exactly. And that's the problem, is that, and
like I said before, it is really hard for the audience. It really is hard for us to discuss this topic, especially me coming from where I stand. Because not only does, as someone who's practiced and studied, not as someone, and don't take it as if I was like a recovering Islamic or recovering anything, because I've been through many religions, just trying to understand them, and so I do try to throw myself in that position, but I've always returned to the standard default of atheism. It is hard for me as someone who's practiced and then still at the end of practicing it and having a great understanding and actually liking a lot of the aspects of it, saying, no, this shit's still stupid. Because at the end of the day, this shit's still stupid.
Well, yeah.
There's no reason someone should be beheaded. There's no reason that, oh God, someone wrote or they made a drawing of Muhammad and Allah. Oh no, like it's bruh. It's not like chill. It's not that serious.
Honestly, my whole opinion on religion, doesn't matter what religion it is, doesn't matter, who's saying it in your religion. I personally think that religion should be kept in private. Religion does not have a place in, in public society.
I mean, I'm sure there are certain places for it, but as like an overall general rule, like separate, especially in America, like separation of church and state.
Exactly.
Very simple. It's like I believe that should be applied to everyone, because it's a very simple concept. And even when I was practicing, even actually when I was much younger, when I was really little, and I was a Christian, I still believed. And keep in mind, I was a Christian that was always in a bit of like questioning, even when I was like 3. I've always believed, like, hey, this shit, separation of church and state sounds right to me. Like, there was something about it that just seemed okay, because I don't feel like anyone should be forced to listen to anyone's bullshit. And I know if I can barely take other atheists, right?
Oh God. Yeah.
Like, and I can, even when I was practicing, like when I believed, quote unquote, in the Christianity and that, I still could barely fucking stand Christians out in the open. It made me want to kick their fucking teeth in. I also had anger issues then, but it was just very fucking annoying, because it's like all it is preaching and trying to convert people and trying to indoctrinate people. And I've always been of the belief, like, let people live however the fuck they want to live. Exactly. Unless they're causing direct harm, or their beliefs are causing direct harm, do whatever. And for the majority of Muslims that I've met and when I was practicing, the people I was with, they condemned terrorist acts. They did follow it, but I'm saying, so they're not fucking bothering me.
Every time there's ever been a radical Islamist attack, every non-radical Muslim group comes out and says, we do not condone the acts of what these people have done.
And also every religion and when I say every religion, I do mean every religion has extremists. Buddhist, something like I have my mala beads on at this moment because I meditate. I took a lot when I was practicing Buddhism, and I really do like it. I really do like its non-theistic nature on certain aspects. But Google like Myanmar, the massacre of Myanmar, like they fucking slaughtering Muslims and keeping them in concentration camps like it ain't shit. And though it's not the majority, it's definitely not the majority of Buddhists.
Oh yeah.
It's still it's still a very significant issue. You see what I'm saying? Because any attack on and this is my personal belief, any attack on anything living should be seen as an issue.
The thing that people don't realize is that no matter what group there is, there's always bad apples. In some groups, there are more than others, but there are radical Christians out there. There are radical atheists out there. There are radical fucking Church of Gale. Don't know if you've heard of it. You know, there's probably like one Church of Gale follower that's probably
there's more than that.
Yeah, that are probably like, I'm gonna send a photon torpedo to the fucking White House. You know, there's.
If anyone here watching or that will watch doesn't know what Church of Gale is, please YouTube that shit. I don't want to spoil anything for you.
And for all those people that smoke out there, trust me, it is something you want to smoke beforehand first. Because trust me, it's so much better.
All my drinkers out there, man, I'm telling you, you're going to want to mix you like a good old fashioned, or you might want to take a few like sex on the beaches with you for this one, because this one right here, so get some moonshine with you for all my country folk, and you're going to need it, trust me. Especially country ones that are real religious, trust me, you're going to need some moonshine and a lot of Jesus for this one.
God. Oh.
But I mean, now that we've discussed thoroughly, I think, like Islam and the whole Charlie issue, because at the end of the day, to sum it all up, if we didn't discuss it enough, there's no reason that a drawing should get anyone killed. Because one, you didn't kill the intended person. Two, well, and I think that if they really did have an intended person, they were just going on a killing spree to show an example. And two, they're innocent people that did nothing. You don't know whether these people condemned it or didn't. Maybe they're just working there and you just killed them. For basically nothing but proving your point.
Well, yeah.
And then not only that, but you've created an issue for all the non-radical Muslims. Because now, again, in Europe... Exactly, because now in Europe you have this big issue of Islamophobia, where I'm pretty sure if they weren't persecuted already in certain parts, they're really finna get hit hard. Because ICE has already made some shit hard within this shit, especially like in some places almost like the heart of Europe.
Yeah.
You're gonna, man, this is bad. This is just, I mean, no other way to put it, and I know it's gonna sound childish the way I say this is bad, but it's just like you've had broader consequences than you probably expected, and what you done was immoral. I don't care what moral standing. I don't give a fuck if you're an anarchist, because I know a lot that condemn this. Like, there's nothing about what happened there.
Well, you also got to remember, anarchy does not mean chaos.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, but I know, like, some diehard, like, fuck everything that's still, like, yeah, no, this shit, like, people that would probably, like, if they had the option, go out and take all of their enemies out, and, like, anyone that's personally done something and, like, fucking shoot them in the face. And they're like, yeah, no, this wasn't cool. Like, they didn't kill the intended person, and then you have a whole bunch of collateral damage.
Well, let's be honest. Let's be honest with ourselves for a second here. If murder was 100% completely legal, don't tell me that you would not go out right now and cap a motherfucker.
I don't know. For me, I believe, like, my younger self, like, asked me that question about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and hell yeah. But I think I've gotten to a point in my life where I'm just like, probably beat the shit out of them. Like,
yeah, it's more of a teaching them a lesson part that's always better.
Because for me, I don't know, as someone who's been around death from fucking all my life, I've never really, like, I've been fascinated with it, but I've also just never really, it was a very odd fascination, because I don't like death. but I've never really like I don't like death as far as being the cause of anything to die. But I'm also fascinated by everyone's like we're in love with the macabre, but we also don't want to like die. Like, oh no, it's like we want to see some shit die, but we don't really want to be in that position. And that shit's always been interesting.
Well, and I think with a lot of people, they don't fear death. They fear what happens before you die.
Well, for me, it's more like as an atheist, I'm kind of like resigned to this being my only life. So for me, it's not when I die, which is a bit of an issue, but it's not like seriously when I die. It's not where I die. It's how I die. I don't give a fuck what happens like before. I don't give a fuck as I'm dying, like my dick falls off. I just want to know how I die.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it going to be a really shitty way, or am I going to go out like an old person in my sleep?
Like that's the thing that I feel like it's not a fear of, you know, dying, because let's face it, you know, everyone you ever know, everyone you've ever known, you yourself, your pet dog, your pet fish, your pet whatever the fuck, everything that you can see is going to die at one point or another. So it's not a fear of dying, it's a fear of what happens the moments before you die, whether or not it's going to be painful or painless, whether or not it's going to be a quick or a slow death. But, you know, what the thing is, like I said, death is definite. You know, what's the saying? The only two things you can know for sure are death and taxes.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like in America, it's taxes.
Yeah.
Death. Like, you know you're gonna die.
Yep.
You know you're gonna pay up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But, you know, and that's the thing, is that I think a lot more people are worried about how they die. Because I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, people would be like, yeah, I want to die fucking. I mean...
Hey, man, I'm not going to say that I wouldn't like it. I'm going to say, just in case my girl watches this, that it would be nice, love.
All I'm going to say is that if I'm going to die, I better die in an orgy.
Woo! Yes.
Just like Pop to Molly, I'm sweating.
Woo! Like they can do whatever they want to my body after any dude can have it.
I'll be dead in the corner, slump as fuck.
Let me die during orgasm. Like let me just and my heart stops. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Like y'all can keep the orgy going. I don't give a shit. Like I'll be dead in the corner, my dick hard as fuck with a little bit of jizz still coming out. But I'll be happier than a motherfucker, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, man, like keep fucking do whatever. Like that's my thing is, and I think that's why it's funny because
they just be humping like, shit, is Caleb dead? Shit, I don't give a fuck.
Like he told us just to keep going if he dies. This is what he wanted. Like personally, like, hey man.
All I know is prepare for an invitation is about 60 years.
Yeah. But no, I like, and to get back to the original point, because this shit is funny for people who are watching. Because I think we really needed this, just because we had this little side conversation because we were talking about something that was a lot more serious than some of the stuff we've talked about. No, I think like that's just the one thing is the collateral damage, the loss of life that, at least in my belief, that will never be like gotten back. Like those people in their consciousness as it stands will never be alive again. Their consciousness is ended.
Well, and at that point,
and they didn't do anything.
Exactly. All they did was like write or draw. And
I mean, even then, like, just to say, like, I'm not gonna say they were just like completely innocent, like they've never done anything in their life. But as far as the reasoning behind their death, they didn't do anything. They were just in the wrong place at the wrong fucking time.
Well, and it's not just, the thing is that when you take somebody's life, you're not just affecting the person that you killed. You're affecting the person that you killed and the people around them and their family. And, you know, it's just, you affect a lot more people than you think. And, yeah, they killed 12 people, but look at how many people rallied afterward.
Yeah, like, you pretty much, you fucked yourself over because instead of showing the might of Allah, you just shown that you're a dick.
Exactly. Well, and it's just, you know, if I remember correctly, didn't 1/5 of the population of Paris show up for one of the protests?
Yeah, like let's put it like this: the French. No offense to anyone, because I know a few. Like they don't really do a lot. So if you could get 1/5 of them to all agree on something when they're usually fighting,
Hell, if you can get
done some
1/5
shit.
of Paris to do anything besides retreat.
If you get, let's put it like this: if you can get 1/5 of any nation to do shit.
Shit. Fuck, man. Like, really. I mean, I think the problem is that people, like I said originally, yeah, we're more connected than we've ever been, but as a society and as a community of people, we're more apart than we've ever been. And it's not healthy. It's not, you know, if things don't change, it's gonna get worse. And people just need to be more accepting. And I mean, yeah, I know that's like, you know, I probably sound like the most stereotypical stoner. Why can't we all just get along, man? But it's true. Like, why can't we all just get along? I mean, we all live on this planet. Yeah, we have other planets that we're currently looking at that are habitable. But I mean, even at that point, it's one universe. It's one collective. We're all one.
At least the one that we live in, guys.
You know, we need to start treating each other like people. We need to stop alienating others. We need to, you know, the only way society can advance is if society changes.
Yeah, agreed. And I also believe, and this is going to sound like I'm pushing a point here, but part of that change is kind of letting go of religious bullshit. Religion, period. But for me, if you're going to hold on to religion, religious bullshit.
Well, I mean, that goes back to my previous point. You know, religion should be kept in private. That way, you're not offending anyone else.
Yeah.
I mean, if you kept your religion to yourself, like, it's just like when they tell you when you get a job, they'll tell you, when you're at work, you're at work. When you're off work, you're off work. You're supposed to be two completely different people. I mean, we should treat religion the same way. When you're in your house, you know, or you're in your church. Like, I don't think that we should just go down tearing down churches. Like, I think that you should have I
believe that we should turn them into strip clubs. I mean, continue.
And here comes Sister Elizabeth riding that pole. Thank you. Tip heavily, the Lord is watching. But
Mary D. Magdalene.
Oh God. Oh God.
And she's doing the infamous Christ pose on that pole. Woo. Are you guys mad because her pussy pops severely and yours does not?
I forgot what the fuck I was gonna say.
We're talking about that.
So where do we go from here? Because I'm pretty sure we already have at least 2 special rings of hell for ourselves right now.
We just keep going down. Man, might as well go for the good old 5. No, yeah, like just to wrap this particular point up. Yeah, we're not talking about tearing down churches or anything, but religion should be kept private if you're going to be religious. But the way it looks is the only way to stop things like the Charlie Hebdo situation and more attacks like this is part of it, not all of it, but part of it is dropping these silly superstitions we call religion. Just like you sit here and look at all the wars started between Greek mythology and all this other shit as stupid, is the same way that in the future people are going to be looking back at us as a collective Because we sit here and we're still fighting fucking wars over ideology. Nothing serious, just ideology. We're still harming people and doing just egregious acts.
We're still
in the
killing
name
people over an imaginary friend.
Yeah, like over Sky Daddy and his "I'm half of me" son. Like, this is ridiculous. We need to move on as a society. And I mean, spiritual beliefs or whatever is perfectly fine as long as you're not harming someone. But we've gotten to the point where now it's very consistent that we're harming people because of them. As a collective, I say we. So the only way I can see is to fix this is either we change the way that, as a society we believe or whatever, or we simply drop the silly superstitions already and just face reality. Yes, you're going to die. Yes, you only have this one life, and majority of the time you're going to sit here and say, and I don't say it's not valid, that there is no actual meaning to life, but that's the beauty of it. You have one life. This is your fucking one chance. So whatever you do now is it. There's no I can get a redo, nothing. So you whatever you do is done. And yes, there is no meaning, which leaves it open for you to make whatever fucking meaning you want. Whatever you want. You want to be a fucking carpenter. There's no Sky Daddy telling you, well, no, you need to be a fucking fisherman. Like, no, you can do whatever the fuck you want within, as long as you're not hurting people. Because there is no assigned destiny. There is no place you go after this. So you can make the most of this one life. You can make whatever meaning for this one life you want. So fucking making the meaning to be like a suicide bomber or some martyr or some fucking shooter or terrorist is fucking stupid. Because all because of the belief that you believe, one, you're doing it for your Sky Daddy, and two, that you are going to be forgiven and you're going to go to some sort of special paradise after you die. Like, no, when you die, your consciousness ends. Let's move on with our life and create a better society. Because this shit's getting ridiculous. Sorry that I ranted there.
Hey, preach. But if I can talk to the audience directly for a second here, there is nothing stopping you from speaking out against bullshit. Like, on any level, whatever you think is right, as long as it's not, hey, let's kill all the Jews. But
I mean, it would have been a good plan if it wasn't for those damned allies.
God damn it. Those goddamn Americans. But there's nothing stopping you from speaking out against inequalities that you see. There's nothing stopping you from going out there, standing on any street corner you want, and holding up a sign speaking your belief.
Shit, street preachers do it all the fucking time.
Exactly. And that's the problem, is that there are too many people in the Christian religion that are being loud and out there. Everyone needs to start going out and speaking on what they believe. People need to start being more loud and out there. I mean, don't go out and tear up buildings over your beliefs, but start a conversation. Even if you don't go out to, whatever street corner or whatever, just talk to people. Get your ideas out there. Collaborate with people. Try to make something work. If it gets shot down, move on to another thing. The thing is that you can be your own God if you so choose it. I hate to drop some knowledge bombs on you, but you can be anything you want. You just have to work hard enough. So go out there, start conversations, talk to people you wouldn't talk to before.
Something shit.
But approach it with a nice manner.
Yeah, I think there's something that I've said a lot of times. I was actually having a conversation with my grandmother a while back when she first found out I was an atheist when I was young. And all hell broke loose.
Oh, yeah. I remember that conversation.
Yeah, during Thanksgiving, no less.
Oh, yeah, that was probably the best time.
Thanks, Mom. But if everyone was as vocal about being as just whatever issue, serious issues, like if anyone was as vocal as the homeless issue, or about how the fucking wars have been stupid as shit, how fucking a lot of the religious issues, if anyone was nearly as vocal about anything that actually mattered as street preachers and fucking these mega church leaders and rabbis and shit, the world would probably be a 10 times better place if anyone just actually sat there and took the time. Like, they're fucking street preachers that do nothing but sit on the street and preach how God hates fags, and they sit here and indoctrinate people because the average person doesn't sit here and take the time to research anything, and they just sit there, they're like, okay, well, this person said it, he was loud about it, they don't hear any other opposition, and they say, okay. So if anyone was just as enthusiastic and put in nearly as much work, even a fraction of the work, if half these fucking mega church leaders and street preachers and rabbis and all this other shit, man, the world would be a better place.
Oh, yeah.
If anyone even put in as much work as Fox News does.
Oh, don't even get... Let's try to stay away from Fox News. That's kind of a low-hanging fruit.
Which means it's perfect for the kicking. No. To move on to our next topic, though. To continue on with, and I don't mean to sound like a dick, to continue on with Islamophobia and a lot of other issues, it's been said, especially this month, and since ISIS really began, was ISIL, or ISIS, ISIL, now it's just IS, or the Islamic State. So since Islamic State, which is, their whole goal is to create an Islamic caliphate, has began, they've really been good as what people call a social media war. And what I mean is, like, they've been really good at just, like, they've mastered the use of social media to indoctrinate a lot of people. And even though it doesn't seem like a lot to us, because, obviously the majority of people just look at it like, what the fuck? To the core audience that they're targeting, since they know who they're targeting, they've been extremely effective. When you have people coming from across the world, people coming out of good lives and good jobs in the UK and Australia, you have fucking kids finding out mischievous little ways to get over there and succeeding in some cases, in a lot of cases, to getting over to a country that's pretty much in a no-fly zone. Like, no one's going there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you've pretty much succeeded at targeting your core audience. Like, if I was even nearly as good as ISIS is with social media, this show would be big right now.
Oh, hell yeah, we'd be popping. We'd have bitches all over the place.
Like, I want to see if after we stop the Islamic State, if I can hire, like, their social media guy, like, whoever the fuck is the head of PR over there. They come over here and help me with some projects, man.
Hell, if our social media was as popping as theirs was, I'd have like 2 strippers in the back right now. Are you kidding me?
Man, be doing lines of coke over here.
Oh yeah, just like, hey, baby, get over here. I need to do another line.
I might actually show my face.
Yeah.
But no, if I didn't want to seem like a failure. But no, it's just they have succeeded. Like, they really have. They've done great at it. And it's kind of a growing issue because, when you look at I was taken aback as someone who does films and works in the indie film industry, at least, and does a lot of other projects, looking at, like, their recruitment films and shit, I was just like, wow. Like, for a second there, if I had forgotten that they were ISIS, I would have been really impressed. Like, damn, the Georgia's militia is really picking up nowadays. Like, the Klan is really doing good for themselves lately. Because let's be honest, that's the whole South militia right there. The South will rise again. But no.
Hell, up in Idaho, that was half the militia up there.
Yeah, the South will rise again, except for Florida. Y'all aren't real South.
Florida isn't South. Let's face it. I mean, yeah, we do.
Florida is South geographically.
That's about it. I mean, we got
all y'all's racists were started from real racists that came from Georgia and Mississippi and shit. But no, it's really like all they show are their victories. They have great especially since they've been able to pull people from other countries. They have great like cameras.
Well, hell, I mean,
like they have an amazing editing budget over there. Fuck man.
well, I mean, hell, fucking fucking shit. What was I gonna say? Alright, keep on talking. I'm gonna remember what I said in a second.
Alright. But yeah, like I said, they have like fucking their budget, man, must be crazy. Like I'm curious, they got like Michael J. Fox or Steven Spielberg doing their explosions or some shit, because like those shits are grade A.
I remember when I was I've only seen 2 news stories. I don't know how many you've seen, but I've seen 2 news stories of people in America trying to go over and fight with them.
Oh yeah, and I mean,
and that's 2 people getting caught. Think about how many people aren't getting caught.
like this. Think about how many people we've already seen from the videos, because I'm one that even with the beheading videos, is as graphic as they are, I watch them. Because as someone who also, I practice a lot of things, guys. So as someone who's also done like news and journalism, and someone who sits here and does news here, you know what I'm saying, or at least attempts to. I know I'm failing at it, guys, but I'm trying. Fuck you. You don't know about this journalist life. It's something that I feel like I have to watch. And it's crazy. Because they really, like I said, even with like great production, and then you look at the people, half the time the people that are talking when they're doing it, you know, in English or any other like language, they're natives. Like they're people that flew over. Like when someone's speaking in English, it's either someone from the UK, rarely or a few times, someone from Britain, someone from Australia that's speaking in English, good English to us. It's not like they got some. It's not like they sat down and they have like English schools for everybody. Like no, they're recruiting people when people are sitting here risking life and liberty to go fight in a completely unknown country, unknown environment with unknown people, not knowing what will happen if they'll even make it there.
Oh yeah.
Giving up good jobs, good for us, what we consider good jobs, a good life. Sometimes taking their fucking kids over there. There was a guy in Australia who took like 2 of his kids over there with him, and they're still there, but like it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like that just proves how well they're targeting their fucking base.
And I mean, it's just ridiculous how much steam they're getting. You know how much.
I mean, it's ridiculous, but I understand why. I mean, even the beheadings, like, let's be completely honest here, regardless of the text, the beheadings aren't serious. Like, they're not necessary, really. But they've learned that if they do they learned what Al Qaeda and a lot of other people did. They know that if they just go ahead and they stick to their deadlines, they're like, fuck it, and they behead someone, and they show every graphic detail. It's going to make the news worldwide, which gives them more exposure. Because even though, like I said, the majority of people are turned off by this, you still have those people that it is going to reach, because it does reach so many people.
Oh yeah.
They're like, yeah, this is a good idea.
And it's, I mean, I can't express how much it's sickening and disgusting. You know.
Especially when you have to sit through, because I mean, you're sitting through and you're watching people, like, they pissed off Japan, you know, you're watching the beheadings and all this other shit. You're wondering, especially as someone like myself who sit here, and again, like I admitted before, I don't like death, but I'm fascinated by it. It's like this weird limbo. Who's sitting here and I'm just like, this shit, like, there's something that sits wrong with it with me. And you're talking to someone who can just sit, like, has seen, you know, because being an American, we over publicize these things. So I've seen this shit. I've also seen someone be shot. And so you're talking about someone who's seen death in front of him, and still it's like, no, there's something wrong with this. Like, I'm still bothered by it. So I can only imagine what the average is bothered by.
I mean, I don't know. I personally feel like me personally may have been too desensitized of death at this point. I mean, it doesn't. you know, granted, I mean, me personally, even though, you know, I don't think that human life has like as much value as many people do. I mean, I do still believe it has value. I mean, and I do think, like I said, that everyone should treat each other as equals. But I mean, I've also had death in my life a lot as well. I mean, not as much as some people. I mean, I haven't seen like people die right in front of me. But
well, I mean, being an American, like you become pretty desensitized to death really fast.
oh yeah, I mean, you can do a quick Google search and watch people getting their fucking heads blown off.
And I mean, that's not counting all our violent movies that are really realistic.
Oh yeah.
And then I've lived on a military base, and so, you know, with a lot of the PTSD and things like that, I've been in places where, because it's not really publicized. Like, y'all sit here and think Fort Hood was an isolated incident. Like, no, things like this happen on bases all the time. It only gets publicized when we have to bring local people into this. We have to sit here and put everyone else around us like, hey, watch out, there may be an issue here. But yeah, it's kind of, they try to cover it up as much as possible. So, you know, you being anything military affiliated, and that's if you're not a soldier, like, death is around the corner, especially being in America, like, all the time. Then police brutality where people just choked out, shot. The hood where people getting, you can see somebody who OD'd and they're just on the corner because they were homeless in the first place.
Oh yeah.
It's very common. You know what I'm saying? And then again, with our media, the way things are, like, you know, can't have gays kissing, you can't see sex, but man, if you want to go see somebody get their brains blown out, by all means.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, you know, all you gotta do is walk down to the local cinema and watch somebody go on a shooting spree in the middle of God knows what fucking country. But heaven forbid you want to watch two gays kissing.
Or you want to sit here and you can play Call of Duty and, you know, shoot them. And I'm not going to say anything because, you know, the whole violent game thing, you know, it's not like, it doesn't cause people to go out and shoot. Okay.
Well, before you start that, there are statistics that have shown that there is no correlation between violence in video games and violence in real life.
That's what I'm saying, but I'm just saying, like, as far as desensitization, like, you get it set for the average American, for the average civilian who probably have never been military. Like, it gets set in your head that, you know, that's kind of how it works. Like, you just shoot someone and then it's like nothing. It's just like the pull of a trigger on a controller. And though you may not go out and kill people in real life, you don't really get the grasp of what life and death is really like, the weight of those two concepts. Because in America, it's desensitized.
Well, and, you know, like I said, you know, it's human life is this weird area because you can't really put a value on the life of a human being. But you can't put a monetary value. Well, I mean, you can. I mean, granted, it's not exactly legal. Well, depending on where you're at.
But we're talking about like a moral, like a real universal value.
Yeah, you can't put a universal monetary value on the life of a human being because value is not only value can't be standard. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, even with, you know, this fucking cup. You know, let's use this cup as an example.
I would like you guys to know that when he got it from Bed Bath & Beyond, it really did have a sticker that said "this fucking cup." Okay.
Oh, I just spilled on me. Fuck. Show business. But,
I think what he's really doing is he just busted a nut when he heard fucking, and he's trying to cover it up by spilling something on it because he has someone coming over after the show.
But you know, let's take this cup right here for example. So this cup may have absolutely no value to you, but I may have gotten this cup from my long lost dead grandpappy who served in Vietnam.
You dead motherfucker.
You know, that's the thing, is that value is always going to be subjective. Depending on what the item is, who you got that item from or the story behind a certain item.
And then the time for a lot of things is like, how long has this item been around? Is it ancient? Is it really ancient? Who made it? Do you know the name of who made? Like, we put so much value on someone's name. It's like, it's a fucking name.
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, hell, there are certain things that you can't say in like a, you know, you can't just go out and use say Microsoft in something that you're going to be making a shit ton of money off of without having to pay some money to Microsoft. Because that, you know, just the name, you get what I'm trying to say. It's, I can't think of the right way to word that sentence, if the, you know, but value isn't standard. There can't be a standard value on something because depending on the person, it changes. Did he go dark on me again? So what to talk about next? Just a little side note while Jay's gone, or yeah, let's call him Jay. I've recently started watching this one anime called Tokyo Ghoul. Don't know if anybody's heard of it, but it's about this one kid who goes on if I remember correctly, he goes on a date with this one girl, and it turns out that she's this thing called a ghoul, and she tries to kill him, and like a bunch of...
Sorry, I don't know if you had stopped going. If you had stopped on topic, I just went and got some food because I'm a fat ass. So fuck you guys. Hello, Caleb. Is it you I'm looking for? So maybe because of technical errors that we may have possibly lost Caleb, because if he's talking, I can't hear him. Which means I'm gonna wrap up the show. So yeah, because I think his PC crashed again. So if you want links to where you can find good atheist content, I will probably be adding it if it's not already there. The Atheist Jesus page linked down below. But you also have Humanist Atheists of America and Atheists Worldwide. Atheists Worldwide, if you want to come just see atheists from everywhere. Of course, it's on Facebook. If you, again, could please go donate to this veteran and help him, will help us help him out. The link is the first link down below. GoFundMe, if you can't donate, go ahead and share it as much as you can everywhere. It's been a good show. I'm sorry we get off topic a lot of times. It's just, you know, when Caleb and I get together, we tend to joke around a lot and have a good time. So that happens because Caleb and I can't take anything seriously. I also hope that we didn't try to be too serious. But yeah, next podcast will most likely be Wednesday. Of course, you know that Wednesdays are optional. However, Saturdays are constant. So Secular Saturday will be there. Anyway, love y'all. Share this video. Like, comment. Definitely subscribe. Comment if you liked any topic being discussed. And you can email us at, I believe I'm not mistaken, Reverend Meadows, DOAJ@outlook.com. Or you can just inbox the channel or anything else. I will see y'all for sure Saturday, possibly Wednesday. I love all of you. Happy New Year.